almost the weekend. Friday, just about as good as Saturday. Actually, it's better, right? Fridays are awesome because you're opening up the whole potential of the weekend, and it's going to be here. Well, it could be here now for you. I hope it is. The story this next couple days is going to be one of, well, we've got a heat advisory and an extreme heat warning that's going to show up in the desert Southwest. It picks up parts of southeastern California. It covers a lot of people. And so extreme heat is a huge concern of mine. Pets, elderly, unhoused, regular people, old people. I mean, it's just heat's a bear, and it's going to cover some ground. So we'll talk about that. Red flag warning in this part of California and Nevada for today. That's a wind event. The weekend is here. Yeah, that's worth looking into. The surf, we'll look at Trussell's, where it looks like they weren't having the contest today, but they're all set up for it. I think the Swell, I know the Swell comes up the next couple of days. So by Saturday and Sunday, I think they'll be running the contest, which is exactly what they want. You want that weekend contest, when you can have a lot of people showing up, and the Swell shows up, or it should show up. And then awesome live cameras. And just the normal stuff that we do. We'll look at the Profiler today, which we haven't looked at in a while. So I just love this satellite image. This is the visible. The big story right now is, I'm going to draw this in. It's not exactly here, but let me see if I can do this. So there's kind of a troughiness, kind of like this. And the ridge of high pressure lives under here, right? And the low pressure lives here. See, they go different ways. This trough just stays close enough that it keeps the high compressed down to this area. And in this area is where the extreme heat warning is going to be, because it's right under that high, or a little bit short of the high, but right there. This is the same visible, this is a visible satellite. The last one was a little bit infrared, which was a little different. Visible is just like, this is a snapshot. And I think the thing to note today, you're going to see more rapid clearing. So my friends in San Diego, my friends in Laguna and Malibu and Santa Barbara, you're going to see more clearing today. You're going to see, well, you've already seen clearing. Big Sur, right? Look at all the clearing along the coast there. Beautiful day at Big Sur. You're clearing in Santa Cruz already. The fog looks pretty aggressive in the Bay Area. This is this morning as of around 10 o'clock. It's burning back quickly too. And then check out this. I mean, right, Humboldt County, you guys are getting some clearing. Del Norte County, Cape Mendocino, down to the Sonoma County coastline. So kind of an awesome day. I think it's going to be just a money day. Now, in terms of surf along the coast, it's not that big, but it's been windy. So we've got pretty cool sea surface temperatures. So if you go in the water, the hypothermic potential is there. It's going to be breezy. So it's not the kind of day you're going to want to get into the water, but the actual ambient air, it'd be clear and kind of mild for this time of year. Here is the red flag warning. Okay, and so that's, you can see just barely picks up California, but it's like, when you start seeing those, you go, dang, because it's that time of year, starting now through October and November, until we get those first run of rains. These things are going to pop on and pop off. They come in different spectrums. Some red flag warnings, they're not created equal. I've seen red flag warnings that they barely should issue, but they do because the criteria are met. And I've seen some red flag warnings are like, oh yeah, this is bad. So there's a big difference. Down here, this is the area I was talking about. This is an extreme heat warning. And this starts on Saturday, picks up Phoenix, picks up Tucson, picks up Flagstaff, picks up Palm Desert, picks up Joshua Tree, looks like it's grabbing, down Lancaster. This one scares me a little bit because it's protracted. Saturday, Sunday, Monday. 3 big days of heat. And it heats the deal. Like I said, it's hard to get away from. And when you can't get away from it and you're poor, or you're a little pet, or you're a little kid and your parents aren't doing the right thing, I mean, it can cause problems. So it's everywhere. It's not like a rain event, right, where you can kind of get an umbrella going or something. The heat is like you can't escape it. So that starts on Saturday. Here is the forecast for today. 79 degrees up in the Wairika area. Redding, just 89 degrees. How pleasant is that? Sacramento, just about at its average temperature, or a little below, about 86 degrees. San Francisco today will go 64 or 65. Bakersfield, 94. and then the heat starts to crank up. And this is that area. Now, today there is not an extreme heat warning, but starting tomorrow there will be. But this whole area is going to bake. That includes Flagstaff, Phoenix, Parker, all these areas, Needles, Thermal, this whole area. So these are the forecast highs for today, Friday. These are the forecast highs for tomorrow, Saturday. And you see the Central Valley warms up just a little bit, but nothing more pleasant than 89 degrees in Chico. That's a nice day. 87 in Sacramento. 66 in San Francisco, so really a nice day. And then the heat comes on here, and it stays put. This is that area. The red flag warning will be dropped, should be dropped by tomorrow. That's sort of a short-lived wind event. And we can look at the 500 millibar vorticity chart. Why do we look at it? Well, because I like this map, number one. But number two, see that low spinning up here, right in here? So that guy, that's the reason. That's the parent low. And then you see the baby lows. I mentioned this yesterday, and I know it's not scientific, but they are baby lows, little disturbances, and they keep clicking through. And that keeps us in sort of a mild pattern. Look at that. That's right. That I didn't see any moisture with this, but I definitely see drop in temperatures, big drop in temperatures next Sunday, June 22nd. But either way, the thing to note is, we won't be seeing any extreme heat warnings in north central California, well, even from Los Angeles up to Del Norte County. I don't expect we're going to see any extreme heat warnings or air quality issues because of this low. This high is the reason for the extreme heat, and it just kind of stays put until you get to June 17th. So we'll see. Either way, the weekend is kind of set. We've got the winds, the lines that are together right there. This is the GFS sea level pressure. Really, you're not going to see anything. There's no thunderstorms forecast in the mountains. The lines get closer and further apart. That represents wind. So there's going to be a pretty persistent, it's almost got, you know what it's got? It's kind of got a spring-like vibe going. Kind of does. Yeah. A lot of northwest wind. Interesting. Yeah. This does look like a spring kind of a pattern, and it's going to hold for a while, for certainly the next 3, 4, or 5 days. And actually, there are indications that it go beyond that, like potentially a couple of weeks, which would be interesting for us not to see triple-digit heat in the month of June. So we got some thunderstorms right now. This is the East Coast, goes east. This is the high pressure in here. That's where the heat is. This is where the red flag warning is. Still a little smoke tied up in this, and lots of cloud cover across the eastern United States. And then just your diurnal, these aren't even diurnal. These are just like thunderstorms. Some good thunderstorm energy showing up around New Orleans, parts of Florida, parts of South Carolina. We can take a look here again. Oh, this was interesting. This is a dense fog advisory, which I was like, what? I thought it was air quality stuff, but they had some dense fog up here. Probably some, it's not hard to get fog, but it's just you don't expect to see any kind of fog advisories this time of year. There's the red flag warning. There's the extreme heat warning that starts Saturday. And here's that rain. These are watches and warnings for the state. Okay, so what did we say? Weekend looks awesome. Saturday, tomorrow looks a lot. And for most of the state of California, Saturday, Sunday, game on. Monday, Tuesday, same thing. Just this kind of... Now, the folks in Marin aren't loving this pattern because it's been kind of, some of the coastal areas have been kind of, if you don't like fog, it's not working for you. But today they'll be a little more clean. But either way, we're just kind of in this, kind of spring-like weather pattern, if you will, especially with the breezy conditions. This is the top of Mount Tam, and there's San Francisco. That looks like is that Mount Diablo? I guess it is, isn't it? Yeah, that's Richmond Bridge. There's Mount Diablo. You can see that push of fog, but you can also see, this is the top of Tam, so you can see the shallowness. There's Tiburon, here's Mill Valley, kind of a shallow marine layer, 1,800 feet. I think, I do have a profiler we'll look at. And I like this, Cam. That's, I think that's Bontempe Reservoir up in Marin County. We're looking towards the north. And let's see, yeah. And then now you're looking towards the north. Oh, so that's Mount St. Helena, Mount St. Helena for sure. a nice visibility today, right? So you're looking up. I used to live, well, this is awesome. I'm doing this. I used to live right here on Fawn Drive in Marin County. I think, I can't find Fawn Drive. Anyway, yeah, it's Sir Francis Drake is probably right here. Anyway, I digress. Here is the profiler. This represents the fog or the marine layer depth, the inversion depth. Here it is yesterday at about this time. Overnight it shrunk down to 1,200 feet. I noticed it got a little warm last night, and then it deepened out again to what we're seeing now, to about 1,700 feet. And again, this is a cross section of the fog. So when we're looking at the top of the fog, this blue line is what we're measuring. So let's do this. Let's go here. Let's see if we can do it. So remember the blue line. So we'll go here, and then we'll go here. So this, the top of this fog, the top of this is the blue line. And then if it gets, that's the inversion. So that's what I'm measuring, going down or up or down, thick or shallow, thick or shallow. And if you look at that again, I know you kind of have to make your mind shift, but it's thick. Well, let's try to do this. Like a third grade teacher, huh? Thick and shallow. And that's the line. So that top of that white stuff is the inversion, if you will. And right now it's not that deep. It'll deepen up again tonight, and it'll do this. And this is what's been the pattern now for a couple of weeks. It's going to continue. It's going to continue. So that kind of keeps us void from air quality issues and heat advisories and things like that. This is this morning, Mount Shasta. Not as much smoke in the air. I did get a nice note from one of you guys that said that there was some controlled burns in the area, and I can certainly see the smoke, right? So there's some controlled burning going on, which I am a big fan of controlled burns. And if you're watching these every day, you can see that Mount Shasta, the north side, is really losing a lot of snow quickly here. And you can see it. It's visible every day. I can see a difference. Like that little V, that little notch, that's going to be gone pretty soon. This area, this is up around Alturas, and I just love the high desert. And I love it's part of California we don't not acknowledge, but it's funny maybe they don't acknowledge us. Yeah, a lot of Jefferson, state of Jefferson or whatever guys up there. I understand. I used to live in Northern California. We were all like that. We're like, we got all the water. We rule. We got, what else did we have? We got good salmon runs. We got, it was funny. A lot of hubris. A lot of hubris when you live in paradise in 1977, no, 75. But the hubris is founded in that these areas are stunning. And I love all you guys that live up there, and I'm just making fun of all of us. So there's a red flag warning in this area. And you can see things are pretty browned up. Temperatures up there, not necessarily out of control, but the breezy conditions will ensue, and the breezy conditions are the trigger for that red flag warning. This is Trussell's. I can't tell what's going on here. The contest, I think Trussell's. Yeah, today is a free surf day, but they got the tents up, which means they're going to have the contest. This is Kelly Slater's contest. His brand is Outer Known, which is kind of awesome. Not sponsored by him, but I do like I have some jeans of his that are awesome. Yeah, so that's kind of a fun one. Look at you can tell a good wave. See the we did weather, so we can do this. See the whitewater. You can tell a good wave by the way it kind of is a V when it goes out. So just look at the whitewater. That's the reef, if you will. That's the reef. Where the whitewater is where the reef is. So let's do this again. So I'll find a set. So I'm just backing up the camera. Not as big today. It's going to be bigger tomorrow. There are no real good sets, are there? Keep looking. Okay, this is bad pod. Okay, so you can see the reef. So where the whitewater, where the shallows out, that's the start of the reef, and then it goes off into deeper water. So you'll see a triangle, and this is actually a good wave. Okay, so here's a nice one. See how it's peaking up? A little bigger, so it's hitting off on this edge of the reef. Guy takes off behind the peak. He's too far back. But you'll see the A-frame on the whitewater. So if you're ever driving the coast, a lot of you new guys and women, people, things, um, you guys kind of drive around. Where's your surf? Well, just look for areas that have whitewater that forms like that, that runs, right? That's not just all whitewater, because that's a closeout. Like here, that's all closed out. But when you see clear water on the edge of the whitewater, you are looking at a wave that's pretty darn good. This is Steamer Lane. Tide is going up now. Yeah, it's okay tides for there. Not the swell's kind of smaller today, but they're getting some clearing at Steamer Lane and Santa Cruz, which we haven't seen a lot of clearing at the lane. I mean, there has been certainly, but it's nice and clear today and early. Not that crowded either. Interesting. You know what's interesting is the weekends. We were talking about this yesterday with somebody else. This is Pacifica. I was so desperate to surf yesterday. I don't want to diss Pacifica at all. But I literally was like, I looked at this. I'm going to go surf in Pacifica. Because I haven't surfed in a week or something. And you go, oh, because we used to surf up here in the corner. We used to call that Roundhouse. And there's a wave up there. But I'll tell you the story. Because we've done weather. But one day I was out here surfing alone like 40 years ago. And I was up in the corner. And there's a little right-hander right there. And these guys come down to the beach right here. There's nobody on the beach. And it's a day exactly like this. Exactly like this day. And I've told this story before. I think I told it on KNBR. But I was a college student. I was over at Berkeley. And these two guys are nice young guys, Hispanic fellows. They're drinking beer like at 10 in the morning, which is like, well, okay, I get it. It's like a Tuesday. And they're what I said the other day, I think they had to pee. So they both walked out in the water, and it was a pretty good sized day, and they both got swept out. And I didn't realize what was going on. I'm out here just surfing away, having a good time alone, and it was big enough. It was not giant, but it was big. They both get sucked out, and I'm watching this thing, and I'm like sitting, I just kind of wasn't paying attention because I was like, they're dudes, they're fine. And all of a sudden, because I'm a good 100 yards away, and all of a sudden I see them floating out past me. And at this point, they had become hypothermic. And so it was weird. They were moving really slow. They weren't, one guy was drowning, but they were both drowning. But I won't go into the whole story because the story it's a weird story. And the one guy, there was two guys. One guy was, his head was, he was vertical. It was weird, or kind of vertical. And I could just see the top of his head, I swear to God, like just under the surface. So he was on his way. And the other guy was still struggling, so I had to pick a guy to save. So I picked the guy who's drowning immediately, and I grab him, paddle him in, get him to the beach, just throw him up on the beach. I don't even burp him or anything. And I go out after the next guy. And then by the time I get to the next guy, I can barely see his head because it's weird. They were like waterlogged. I'm not a lifeguard, but I've never really seen this ever since. But just the way they were bobbing was weird. So I went out and grabbed him, and he was really bad. He was kind of throwing up and stuff, and got them in. And this is the weird thing about me, and the weird thing about 1979. I literally just got them both to the beach. They're dudes. They're like 22-year-old guys. They're older than me probably. And I just put them back up on the beach on their towel, threw them a couple of jackets, went back out and surfed. And those guys, the Rangers finally came down, and I can't remember what. Somebody must have seen us from the beach or something. But the Rangers, and I stayed out and surfed. I never came in to talk to the Rangers. I just kept surfing. So yeah, I'm kind of a hero. That's one of the things in life, and it was weird. It's kind of weird. I was kind of a hero. I'm just joking, kind of, but I guess I was. But it's weird, like when people say, no, that's just what you would do. It's just what you would do. There's no bravery involved. It's like I was just here, and these guys are dying, so I got to help them. Okay, then I didn't think I was going to tell you that story, but this picture reminded me of that. And then I got another story about Linda Marr. I'll tell you some other time. That's really almost as good. Okay, so this is Mammoth Lakes, Mammoth Mountain. And these bad boys, they're not going to give up the ghost at all. It is 60 degrees, a little cooler down in Mammoth at this hour. The camera's going to move. Mammoth's been getting up into the 70s. Let's see who's out. Yeah, they are. Look at that. I'm so impressed. I'm so impressed. Just that I mean, here we are, June 13th, and these guys are like, they're going to use that season pass, right? That icon pass or whatever they got. And then you can see just as they're running up. And pretty soon, that's like tomorrow, that's dirt right there. That's dirt tomorrow. Like, oh my God. It's pretty awesome, though. And then there's the dirt pile that they always show. Check out the eagles. This is a tree they sit in. I learned some stuff about eagles yesterday. I learned a lot about Jackie and Shadow. I learned that one of the mating rituals of the birds, which is awesome, is they build the nest together in the winter. So that's sort of like Jackie and Shadow when they were getting together. And that's why, I think that's why Shadow's always, the male, is always kind of fluffing up the nest. Because Jackie owns the deal, right? She's the big one. But the Shadow came a little later to the party, and so he's always fixing the nest up because that's his way of saying I care, which it's obvious, but it's just a cute kind of a thing. Because Jackie always looks at him like he doesn't know anything. 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. We looked at this yesterday. About where we should be for this, for California, above average from Point Conception south. Not hugely above average, but above average, so a few degrees. So that's interesting. And then in terms of precip, it's not hard. Mediterranean climate, yeah, it's going to be near normal, which is basically dry. And then they're going below average out here, indicating that perhaps the monsoonal moisture isn't going to happen as soon as we maybe would like to see or typically see. This is the 6 to 10 day precip outlook. Okay, I think we covered a bunch. Appreciate you hanging in. We'll probably see you back here tomorrow. Oh, I'm on Tolbert Show today at 3 o'clock. We're doing a beer tasting. Tommy Tolbert Show. I think he's on Spotify and YouTube. And I think it's live. I think it'll be around 3:15 or 3:30. And we're going to taste, he's never had my, I call it Mountain's Breath beer. It's an IPA that I make from the water that comes from the base of Mount Tam, from the spring that comes off Highway 1. You've probably seen it on your way to Stetson. Anyway, that'll be fun. And you know what I'll do? I will post it here tomorrow. And then if you're so inclined, Tommy's entertaining. If I'm not, Tommy is. Okay, we'll see you back here.